We start a new book of the Torah this week. There's a book of the Torah called Shemot, Names. This one in English is called Numbers, in Hebrew, BaMidbar, in the wilderness. But the book of Numbers begins with a list of names. And this is in part because names are significant. I've been thinking about names, partly because this is this period marks Israel's 75th anniversary, and David Ben-Gurion, the first prime minister, along with many or most of his contemporaries in Israeli leadership, changed his name, born David Green, and changed his name to David Ben-Gurion to reflect who he became, right? Not the Yiddishized land of his birth, but the Hebraicized land that he came to. And today, there are debates that take place over names and what to call people and things like this. It sometimes comes up in Jewish circles in getting called up to the Torah. And in each case, all these cases, the goal is to try and be respectful, call people what they want to be called, avoid embarrassment. The custom of calling people up to the Torah, one, it wasn't always done by name. We know that in some communities it was just called somebody, it said, the next Aliyah come up. Most places now call up by name, and we know from even late medieval sources that the name that people were called up by was always done to avoid embarrassment. If there was an embarrassing element in the patronymic, it was sort of skipped over. It's polite. It's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to treat people with dignity. This comes up now sometimes in gender issues. People want to know, can you call up somebody by not the gender they were born with if they identify differently? The answer is yes. Call people up by what they want to be called. We have a long tradition of calling people what they want to be called. That's basic respect. That's basic dignity. And given that the main goal in calling people up by name in the Torah service is to ensure that we avoid embarrassment and identify the individual, give them some respect, that's what we have to do. So there's a tshuva on this from the Committee of Jewish Law and Standards, but it's also basically how Jewish communities have always operated. Treat people with dignity, call them what they want to be called. That's what Torah is, and that's how we're supposed to practice it. So you'll notice that there is sometimes what seems like a slight new wrinkle in a Torah service, calling somebody up by not the gender that they were born with, but what they identify as. But that, in fact, is consistent with the way things were always done, which is treating people with respect and calling them what they want to be called and avoiding unnecessary embarrassment. That's the value. And if we're going to be true to the Torah, that's what we practice. Shabbat Shalom.